And as I said, I think Ms. Meng has quite a strong case.
The ongoing headache for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau coming from John McCallum, his own very own appointed ambassador to China. Apparently, McCallum says he misspoke. Sarah McIntyre, this is one of those sorts of situations where it's causing tensions all over the international community. It's putting strained relations on an already strained relation with our allies, the United States. Should McCallum still be in this job as ambassador?
Oh, I don't think so at all. I mean, the impression of, being a diplomat is that you're diplomatic. And he made these comments specifically to Chinese media here just outside of Toronto. So he knew exactly what he was saying to the Chinese government, which basically is, hey, there's a way out of this, guys. And then he got caught. And it was a major misstep. And he should be facing the consequences of this. I've been watching this whole drama play out, and it feels like you're in a world of like Mr. Magoo or an episode of it, because it just feels like you don't know where he's going.
The interesting part, however, is like this once again, with all of the stuff going on with Huawei, with actually Ralph Goodale, our Minister of Public Safety, considering now saying that Huawei does not necessarily have to be on our 5G network, and which I think is the right thing to do and have that narrative out there. McCallum's words, brief for sure, but very damaging. So why do you think, though, Trudeau is standing behind him? Because the whole notion is that when you're an ambassador, you are speaking on behalf of the government that you represent. So this is the words and the language of the Canadian government. Why are the Trudeau folks letting this stay out there?
Well, I think when you're dealing with the Chinese, it's all about not insulting them. And it's all about process and procedure. And so I think any sudden moves when it comes to the relationship with China will be viewed harshly either way. So no matter if you keep them or you kick them out, you're going to have to reestablish a relationship if you put a new ambassador in. But here's the thing about Huawei. I mean, this isn't a private company. No big private company actually exists in China. And they've been banned in Australia. Many of our G7 partners will not let Huawei build their 5G networks in their country. So there are still questions to be asked about Huawei, regardless of whether or not they're going to extradite this executive to the U.S.
Donald Trump is not allowed to do his State of the Union down south, but hey, we can talk about the state of the Federation here in Canada. Angus Reid recently did a poll surveying Canadians from coast to coast to get a temperature and a gauge as to whether or not is there Western alienation, who is actually contributing more to the Federation. Sarah, the results of which are not unsurprising. We do see this sort of a larger narrative growing of Western frustration and things like that. But in Quebec, I found the numbers interesting that Quebecers even said that they are not contributing enough to the Federation as a whole.
Yeah, 12% of Quebecers said that they feel that they take more than they give in the Federation. I don't think the numbers were terribly surprising. I mean, we've been a federation of regions with their own personalities, own economies, own beliefs. And, it was typical that the Western countries, actually the Western provinces, stick together. And it's more the provinces of the prairies that stick together. BC is always the outlier. They don't feel like they're connected to anywhere in Canada. And you can tell that when you go there. They don't cover any federal stories. It's like those Rocky Mountains demark a whole different country out there. And some of the numbers were surprising on that front.
I think that one of the things it does sort of speak to, and we're going into this federal election come October, and there seems to be a frustration out west. I mean, I'm from out west. I hear it from my friends. I hear it from people out there all of the time. We have a federal government that likes to sort of play identity politics. If you're not with the Liberals, you're against all of these things that they view as Canadian. How does something like this play out in a federal election?
Well, I mean, the Liberals are going to have to evaluate where they're going to be putting their resources. And it's also important for the Conservatives, too, because I think there's opening up a lot of opportunities for Andrew Scheer and the federal Conservatives to try and run the gamut on how Western alienation will impact the Liberal vote and will impact the Conservative vote. That being said, the prairies are dominantly Conservative, and there's not a lot of ridings there, where there are a lot of ridings, of course, in Ontario and Quebec and in southern BC, which is where you're going to see the contest play out. Yeah,
well, certainly a lot riding on this next federal election. Log on to Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.